No, I think what you've put on the screen there is right on the money.
All right.
Yeah, to me, the finalization of each of these lessons we've had, which is this screen that you have up there now, but you had one of those for each one of the lessons, which took it through all of the personalities. That picture right now and every one of each of the lessons that like it, I think are the most powerful of the whole process.
It is. And how do you help people, internalize these things and understand, the power of it? Tom knows Dave Ramsey, so big guru in the financial services, financial arena. And I know Mike Hardwick, his best friend, one of his best friends, that they grew up together and everything, first advertiser on his show. And Mike Hardwick said that Dave Ramsey and Mike and his mortgage company, both of them have little signs outside everybody's door on the personalities. But Mike said, it seems like people don't understand the power, they don't internalize it. And so this is where leverage is different because it's got a full follow-up system, all built into it to help you in following through. Why each personality will do it is the details of the work. The amiable personality is leveraging the amiable frequency, the caring and the connection, the fun for the expressive personality, and the drive, the big picture, the power. So understanding these words and how it literally releases the dopamine in the brain that creates the excitement like a high to be able to move forward. So we tend to like other people who are like us. We tend to love people who are opposite. So often in a company or an organization or any group, the people that we dislike the most are often going to be the opposite frequency. And so the amiable and the expressive personalities drive me crazy because I'm driver analytic. But those are when I learn to connect with them and they learn to connect with me, I learn how much I need their energy, their frequency. They learn how much they need mine. Leverage is about connecting the different energy and frequencies together. So I'm far more powerful when I'm connecting my frequency with the frequencies that are different than I am. So how do they all think? So the analytic needs to trust the details to do. So they're very sensitive if there's one thing wrong. So, Peter, I believe you had forensic accounting in your background?
I did.
I don't know if you had, did you have accounting in high school?
No.
So I had it my junior and senior year in high school, and I remember the strangest thing. Mr. Langless was the teacher, and I remember when we went through and we were doing a balance sheet, and it was 10 cents off. It's like, of millions of dollars. It's like it's not that big a deal. Like it makes no sense to spend $1,000 or $10,000 in time to go ahead and find a 10-cent mistake. Like that makes no sense at all. And when I learned, no, Mark, that 10 cents mistake may be $10 million that are hidden or somebody's absconding with or there's a mistake or something's wrong. That 10-cent mistake can reveal a whole bunch of things. So you don't look at it as a 10 cents mistake to be ignored. Do you remember when you were first taught that, Peter?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was as weird for you as it was for me.
Well, I was older when I learned that, but once you see that it can be 10 million and 10 cents one way and 10 million the other way, then the 10 cents makes a big difference.
The challenge with somebody who
was revealing,
right?
Revealing.
That's so cool. The challenge is for the analytic often is they have a hard time shutting it off. and that will kill you in business as well. So they want to go slow, but often need to go fast. That's what's called counterintuitive coaching. So counterintuitive coaching is the hardest type of coaching to give and receive. It's doing the opposite of what you think you ought to do. And so it goes against every, molecular piece in your brain in being able to go through it. The amiable, they need to trust you personally to do. So if you're a driver personality, the amiable will tend not to trust you because they perceive that you mow over people. They want to go slow, but often need to go fast. So they often go slow to not hurt people, not realizing that in business, at times you go slow, you're going to hurt people a lot more and a lot deeper. So I have 3 degrees in business, 1 in finance, 1 in management, 1 in marketing. You'd have thought with 3 degrees from a really good business school that they would have taught this, but they didn't. You'd be shocked and amazed how many top C-level people in Fortune 100 companies don't know this on a conscious basis. They know it when you teach it, when it's taught to them. They're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. But they don't know it on a conscious basis, and if we don't know something on a conscious basis, we're not able to teach it to other people or integrate it into our systems. The expressive need to be fun and exciting to do. They want to go fast, but often need to go slow. And then the driver personality, they need someone to have control. So they will often think, people will often think, like, this is crazy stuff. Like, you guys are going to love this. Often in life, in business, people think that the driver is the control freak. The driver has to have something under control, but they don't often want to control it. They just want somebody to control it. And if somebody's not controlling it, they will jump in, often to the chagrin of other people and the harm. But actually, of the 4 personalities, Tom and Peter, which would you guess is the most controlling of all 4 personalities?
Analytic.
Yeah. Yeah, the analytic, super, super unbelievable controller. Like, everything's got to be done their way, perfect. Yep. Nope, actually, it's not that. Guess again?
Amiable.
It's the amiable. The amiable is the most controlling of all 4 personalities, and nobody knows it. Like, they have the whole thing mapped out, and they're telling the analytic what the analytic wants to hear. They're telling the driver what the driver wants to hear, and they're telling the expressive what the expressive want to hear. They're like the Wizard of Oz. They're controlling the whole thing, orchestrating it all. That's not necessarily bad, as long as they have the best interest of everyone. But sometimes they don't, and sometimes they think they are good at controlling things when maybe not so much. What do you watch for? So how do they think? So the analytic likes to dot the I's and cross the T's. They like things done properly in order. They like it done right. So how they think is, the amiable is thinking no conflict. Everyone gets along. Everyone works together. The expressive thinks fun. They like to be the center of attention and exciting. And the driver thinks profit, speed, and getting ahead. So if you want to get them to move, you have to communicate them to do something. If you want to get the amiable to do something, you have to understand how to communicate in the amiable's language. So if you say to the driver, if you're an amiable to the driver, and you're trying to get the driver to do something, and you say to the driver as an amiable, you say, listen, if you don't do this, it's going to create conflict. The driver's like, okay. Like, so? Is that a problem? And if you're a driver communicating to the amiable, and you say to the amiable, hey, if you don't do this, we're not going to go ahead and get to go fast. Like, we're not going to hit our goals. And the amiable's like, okay, is that a problem? The expressive is going to be to the analytic, like if we don't go ahead and move fast on this, we're going to have, like, it's not going to be fun, like, it's not going to be exciting, there's not going to be any energy, like, and the analytics, like, that sounded kind of nice to me. The analytic, if they communicate to the expressive, you've got to do this, because if you don't do this, there's going to be a mistake. There's something, well, what the expressive kind of hears is a mistake. A mistake is exciting. That's how we learn. It's how we grow. It kind of shakes things up. So what creates pain for one personality creates pleasure for another. And if we don't understand that when we're communicating, when we're putting things together, we don't gain leverage. What are the blind spots for each of the 4 personalities? The analytic can be too picky at times. They often miss the big picture. They often do not learn from actions not taken. So they're not, like, they make a mistake, but there's no evidence that they make the mistake. The amiable, will often be very arrogant for their treatment of people. So Tom's past president, largest real estate franchise in the world, over 140,000 people. And he could have a college intern come up to him and say, if they said Mr. Koontz, they might say just Tom, you don't really know how to treat people well. Like, I've seen it. And so the amiable thinks that they know, because they've been told their whole life how nice they are to people, so they think that their way is the best way to treat people. And anybody that doesn't treat people the way they think it ought to be treated, well, then that's wrong. And so that creates a blind spot. They miss the value of conflict. And again, just like the analytic, they do not learn from actions not taken. The expressive often lacks focus. They're weak often in follow-through because it's not fun. And so they like to do the first 10, 20, 30% of something, but when it becomes boring, they want to move on, and they won't get the most important things completed often because it's not fun. The driver's blind spots is they tend to push too hard to move things forward fast, quickly. What they don't realize is that if they slow down, again, counterintuitive, if they slow down, it would actually move faster. They will tend to overreact, especially when things get out of control, and they may not see the importance of details. When we look at the 7 T's to stewardship, time, the driver tends to be the most sensitive of time. The expressive tends to be the best at talents. Like one of Tom's gifts is that he can see people's talents. He can see how their gifts are and how they interconnect with people. The analytic will tend to be treasure, which is any material things, wealth, money, equipment, anything that costs money, anything on the balance sheet. They tend to be good stewards of that. They watch those details well. The amiable tends to be good in trust, and then all of them will have their own truth. Temple is our body, our physical, and thoughts. And so each one will steward things in a different way. So if we want to gain leverage, we need to understand how all of the different personalities will go ahead and interconnect. So these are some of the individuals here on the different personalities. And so mapping out your entire team, your coworkers, your boss, your customers, and understanding how do we mix these together, the proper mixture. So people often ask me around the world, they'll say, so Mark, is it best to have all the same people on the team? No, it's easiest to have all the same people on the team, but it's not best. So you'll all have the same blind spots. But it's easiest to have the same people on the team, but not the best, not the most important. To get the most out of the leverage course, you need to know who your art mentor is and then who your 2 art buddies are. So are you connecting with them 10 minutes a week, your 2 art buddies. Is your art mentor, if they don't call you, call them. If they don't connect with you. So the real value, the real power within leverage is it's the use of the materials, and it's not going to be going through and sitting through the half an hour lesson and then sitting through the half an hour of Q&A. It's actually interacting and putting these things in place that will help us to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish from this course. And I know we went through a lot. We've just got a couple things, and then we'll go into the Q&A time and the discussion time and being able to go through it. And so when we look at reading phase 2 in the white paper library, the income machine, real important to the do in being able to take it. We've gone through the 10 reasons why people talk and going through that do. Make sure that you're posting something about what's your one word. Like each lesson you go through, post your one word and then what that one word means to you. It will attract other people of similar and people who are opposite. So a big part of this is the ongoing networking and the ongoing connecting that you have. So there's been a request to go through and do a bonus session on the DNA for people, DNA for business, and DNA for life, and how these all connect into leverage and being able to go through it. There's additional one-on-one coaching and mentoring, seminars and workshops, mastermind groups. And so again, connect with your art mentor, or you can call the individual who invited you, or you can call 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300, or 630-393-9909. Tom and Peter, before we go into the Q&A, any questions or thoughts that you have?
No, it's been great. Great lesson.
Peter, any thoughts, questions you have?
I do not have anything to add.
All right, so the Wizards community, I'd encourage all of you to look through that. There really is a wizard. Nobody really knows who the wizard is, but he's really out there, a real live person around the country. You can go and see him. He's a pretty interesting guy. But checking out the Wizards community and looking at joining that community will help you take leverage to another whole dimension. There's going to be a 5-second quick pause, and we're going to go into the Q&A and include some of the other members that are participating. Here we go, 5 seconds.